Just days after Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky held talks with Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan on pushing Ukraine's bid to join NATO, now US President Joe Biden, in an exclusive interview to CNN, has said that Ukraine is not yet ready for NATO membership. He's further gone on to say that Russia's war in Ukraine needs to end before the alliance can consider adding Kiev to its ranks. While discussion on Ukraine's imminent membership in NATO is still on, the US president has also said that the US and its allies in NATO would continue to provide President Zelensky and his forces the security and the weaponry they need to try to end the war with Russia. In fact, while on NATO, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has agreed to support Sweden's bid to join NATO. This would no doubt be seen as a move that will expand the military alliance and strengthen its Baltic flank as Russia continues its invasion of Ukraine. Now, addressing media persons, the Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson has said that Sweden has taken a big step towards NATO membership after striking a deal with the Turkish president to let Sweden into the alliance. Now remember, Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February last year prompted Finland and Sweden to abandon decades of military non-alignment and apply to join NATO. Sweden and Turkey have now agreed to establish a so-called security compact on fighting terrorism.
Jag är väldigt glad.
I am very happy. The three of us, the President of Turkey, the Secretary General of NATO and myself, have shaken hands over this joint statement. We are thus taking a very big step towards the formal ratification of Sweden's membership in NATO. It has been a good day for Sweden. I had a very good meeting with President Erdogan and NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg, as you know. In this meeting, we have agreed on a joint statement. In this statement, President Erdogan undertakes to proceed with the ratification of Sweden's membership of NATO as soon as possible. In the statement, we on the Swedish side take it on ourselves to continue to fulfill all our commitments to the trilateral memorandum of Madrid.
Turkey has dropped its objections to Sweden joining NATO, ending months of drama over an issue that had strained the bloc as war raged in Ukraine. Video released by NATO on Monday showed Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan shaking hands with Sweden's leader following successful talks during which Erdogan agreed to lift his veto. Here's NATO's Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg.
I have just had a constructive meeting with President Erdogan and Prime Minister Kristersson. I'm glad to announce that as a result, President Erdogan has agreed to forward the accession protocol for Sweden to the Grand National Assembly as soon as possible, and work closely with the Assembly to ensure ratification.
Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February last year prompted Finland and Sweden to abandon decades of military non-alignment and apply to join NATO. Finland became NATO's 31st member in April, but Turkey's Erdogan resisted Sweden's accession for many months, accusing Sweden of harbouring members of militant groups. Sweden and Turkey have now agreed to establish a so-called security compact on fighting terrorism, and Stockholm promised to support Turkey's bid to become a member of the European Union. NATO leaders set to meet on Tuesday can now focus on another country's membership bid, that of Ukraine. While NATO members agree Kiev cannot join during the war, they have disagreed over how quickly it could happen afterwards and under what conditions.
We're also prepared for the NATO summit next week, and I want to reiterate the United States fully supports Sweden's membership in NATO. And the bottom line is simple. Sweden is going to make our alliance stronger and has the same value set that we have in NATO, and really anxiously looking forward for your membership.
Let me now take this across to my guest who's joining me on this live stream. Mr. Swiatoslav Jurash, who's the MP in Ukraine, is with us on this live stream. Thank you, Mr. Jurash, for joining us. I'd first like to begin by asking you, how does this decision really help Turkey? And if we look at this, as far as Sweden joining NATO, what about Ukraine's bid to join it?
It is another step that shows that NATO is an expanding alliance that is certainly allowing new members, new countries, and new horizons for its security paradigm to develop. For us, we very much welcome the fact that NATO expanded in Sweden and Finland, and we see it as very much another step to allow our bid for accession to go forth.
Now, Turkey had been holding up Sweden's bid to join NATO as it accused the country of harboring Kurdish activists, which Ankara regards as terrorists. What do you think brought in this change of heart?
They had a long round of talks that the whole world was trying to understand and to essentially further. And it's very clear that they reached a deal, reached an understanding to try and allow Sweden's bid to proceed. And we very much welcome that, seeing our two great partners, Turkey and Sweden, reach an understanding is a welcome sign of the cohesion within the alliance that we very much want to be a part of.
Now, this comes even as Hungary is yet to greenlight Sweden's bid. How do you see that really going about?
We see that as far as the legal process by ratifying and proceeding on the steps, and many other countries have made those steps successfully. I don't see anything that will stop Turkish parliament and Turkish institutions from proceeding with that process, seeing that all the actors, leading actors in Turkey already have voiced their acceptance of the fact that Sweden should be part of the alliance.
Mr. Yuresh, with Joe Biden, the US president, not supportive of Ukraine's bid to join NATO, how do you see the relationships really going from here on? And considering he also in the same breath talks about the needed weaponry that must be provided to Ukraine, the US and the allies are going to continue to do so.
I would firmly disagree. I mean, for me, as far as the understanding of the US and Ukraine about our role in the North Atlantic Alliance, it has been a conversation that has been evolved immensely, especially since seeing the victories that Ukraine can gain in the battlefield in defense of the values of the North Atlantic Alliance. It's very clear that our conversation with the US is not finished, and we are proceeding in that talk. We have seen many things that seemed quite impossible when the Russians have just invaded, but be realized. So I see it is inevitable that we will proceed and succeed in this conversation with the US.